Chapter 8. After almost an eternity, Manuel's mom was finally able to move around in the apartment without someone else's help. Since her leg didn't hurt anymore, she had developed an impressive ambition to learn how to walk with her crutches. "To bum around on the sofa for a while is nice," she said, but after all she wasn't an old woman yet who needed everything brought to her all day long, and now she was definitely fed up only lying around. Manuel's mom had thanked her son during the past days again and again for his help, and also exclaimed how happy she was to have such a brave little helper who was able to manage their complete household all by himself. Manuel had been really proud about that and had been paying close attention to continue doing everything right. But when his mother finally was able to walk around safely with her crutches, she basically insisted on Manuel finally going out to play again. First, Manuel tried to put up some half-hearted protest, but he also thought of Luka and how much he had missed his new friend during these past days. And so he mustered his mum one last time critically, checking that she had really everything she needed. When he was sure that there was nothing missing, he kissed Mom on the cheek, and then, grabbing a bundle of carrots that he had bought as a present for Luka, he chased out of the apartment. When Manuel reached their meeting point besides of the big tree, there was no Luka in sight. The boy sat down and waited for a half hour. Then he decided to search for his friend. He walked around, looking underneath trees and bushes, and was calling, "Luka! Luka!" But the rabbit was nowhere to be seen or heard. Manuel only discovered many birds, even some ducks and 2 big white swans, but there was no small brown rabbit named Luka. It started to become dark already when Manuel finally got to the small pond. He was standing at the pond's edge and was staring cluelessly out on the water when all of a sudden he heard a voice very nearby. "Luka! Luka!" the voice called. And from underneath a bush at the hill there emerged a rabbit. Manuel instantly recognized Luka's mother, and as he knew about her mortal fear of humans, he stood there without moving or making a sound, lest she noticed him and got scared to death, maybe. Did she also search for Luka? Where was he? The rabbit had stopped without noticing the boy, who was standing only some meters away from her. She was staring motionless at a majestic, gnarled oak tree. Manuel looked into the same direction and discovered something like an opening or a hole at the foot of the tree. All of a sudden, the rabbit began to weep. "Oh no," she sobbed. "The labyrinth. I knew it." And then tears started to roll down her cheeks. "Excuse me?" Manuel had been standing there, stunned for several moments, and now tried very carefully to attract the attention of Luka's mother. The rabbit startled and looked around hastily. She noticed the boy standing on the edge of the pond. Flight! This thought was lashing through her head, but the shock was so severe, her feet were heavy like rocks and she could not run away. "I didn't mean to frighten you, really," Manuel blurted out. "I won't do you no harm. You don't have to be afraid. I know your son. Luka, I mean. I'm his friend, Manuel." Luka's mother stared at him, eyes pried wide open. You know my son? Where is he? I have been searching for him all day long. He didn't come home yesterday, and I'm sick from worry." "I don't know," Manuel replied. "We wanted to meet a few days ago already, but my mom is sick and I had to look after her, and that's why I couldn't go out. And today I've been running around here for hours, but I haven't found him anywhere." Luka's mother hadn't really heard Manuel's words. Her gaze went right through the boy, and, more to herself, she now said, He was so strange during the last 3 days. Since his birthday. He almost hasn't been talking. Was out all the time. He didn't eat. Oh! A sob burst out of her. And I haven't even asked him what's wrong. I haven't even asked him. She began to weep again. I think it's my fault, Manuel said, embarrassed. He must have been waiting for me all the time, but I couldn't come. He must have thought that I don't want to be his friend anymore. And even on his birthday. And now we've lost him, Luka's mother whispered, her eyes staring unblinkingly at the tree and the strange opening at its base. Why? Manuel asked, uncomprehending. And now Luka's mother told Manuel the legend of the labyrinth of Princess Saladia. When she had finished her story, she said, You know, I have found the labyrinth myself, long ago. It happened when my husband, Luka's father, had been killed by a dog. A human man came here with a dog to take a walk, and because he did not keep the dog on its leash, this dog began chasing my husband, and he tore him apart when he finally had caught him. I watched everything standing up on the hill, and I couldn't help. And the human man has been laughing, and he even praised the dog because it was such a good hunter. Manuel's mother had to shake from disgust before she was able to continue. I almost died from despair. Yes, I did not want to continue living. My heart was aching, and no one could help me. I was walking around, lost. For hours I wandered, and then I discovered the labyrinth. Did you go in there? Manuel asked breathlessly. Oh yes, I did, the rabbit answered. But I was very afraid. It was so dark and quiet there, and that's why I never went in very far. I only listened to Saladia's song for a while, and I wept. Then I went out again because I realized I have a son, and he needs me. I wasn't allowed yet to die. Manuel was dumbfounded. And you think that Luka is now in there? Yes, answered Luka's mother with a soundless voice. And he will never find his way out alone. Her voice cracked and she closed her eyes. Without saying a word, the boy and the rabbit sat beside each other for a while. I'll go in there, and I'll search for him, Manuel finally said in a very soft tone, but with much resolve. Luka's mother opened her eyes again and stared frantically at the boy. You will get lost, she whispered. Nuh-uh, I won't, Manuel replied, and began to rummage around in the pockets of his pants. When he had found what he had been searching for, he marched over to the door beneath the old oak tree. Among the many little somethings, trifles, and odds that he always had stuffed in his pockets, there was also a small ball of kite string. And with that, there should be hardly a problem with searching for someone in a labyrinth, and also finding the way out again. Manuel fixed the beginning of the string at the latch of the door. Once more he looked around encouragingly into the transfixed eyes of Luka's mother. Don't you worry, I'll go in there now, I'll find Luka, and we will come out both safe and sound. He waved her with one hand, and then Manuel went into the labyrinth.